I say, Mark! Mark!
Hello, Lawrence. Where were you? You said you'd meet me at the station.
Yes, I'm sorry. The office. I was kept late.
It's good of you to come. Well, that's what brothers are for, aren't they? To make uncomfortable journeys for unspecified reasons.
Well, I couldn't put the reason in a telegram. You know how people talk.
Sounds like a sudden crisis.
Yes. Yes, it is fairly sudden.
Well, you're not leaving Fearns and striking out on your own.
No, no.
Well, why not? What's the point of becoming a solicitor? Exams and all that slogging, if you end up just working for somebody else.
Well, we can't all be bohemians, Mark.
I suppose not. Well, how is Phyllis?
Well, that's just it. Oh, I'll explain later. She's watching us from the window. Now, remember, you've come from London to see me. I didn't telegraph for you.
Well, what have I come to see you about?
You'll think of something.
Phyllis!
Oh. Well, now what's the meaning of this?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, come on, Mark, out with it.
Well, the fact is, I got myself into a legal mess, and my devoted brother has to get me out of it.
Nevertheless, you look very thriving. Are you selling a lot of pictures?
Well, I can't say I am, Phyllis, no. I'm still waiting for the critics to decide whether I have genius or mere talent.
You're still teaching then?
Yes, teaching. Well, that's where the money lies.
A classroom full of young London women with artistic aspirations, no doubt.
Yes. You know, I must paint you someday, Phyllis. Your face has a severe purity of the classic oval.
And your luggage?
Well, I haven't got any, really. I must go back first train in the morning.
Must you?
Yes, I must.
You look hot, Lawrence.
Yes. Trying to catch up with Mark. Fearns kept me late.
I see.
These sunsets above are worth the rent you pay for this.
Well, I'm glad somebody notices them.
Well, have you two decided to stay here or go back to Glasgow? I don't suppose you'll stay in a furnished house forever.
No, no.
Well, did you like Glasgow, Phil?
Well, at least there's no go there.
You know, I saw the great Charles Fearns the other evening.
In London?
Yes, on the promenade at the Empire, with a rather vulgar-looking lady. He does go the pace. If he get himself in the divorce court one of these days, then what a sensation for the Five Towns.
Duran, Mum? Oh, yes, Minnie. Mr. Ridware's brother will be staying the night. Would you see that everything in the spare room's in order? Yes, Mum.
Well, that's a new servant since I was here at Christmas. Now, what's happened to Lottie?
Married.
What?
Married.
Well, I think I'll go and tidy up for supper, if you don't mind. And it'll give Lawrence an opportunity to consult with you.
No, I've come to consult with him.
Oh, yes, of course. How stupid of me.
Well, perhaps you'll tell me what the devil's going on.
My wife's going on. She's been playing about with another man.
Phyllis?
Yes.
You don't mean to say...
Yes, I do. That's exactly what I mean.
Well, who is the chap, do you know?
Greatbatch?
Oh, the one she was engaged to before?
Yes.
The schoolmaster?
That's the swine.
Well, you stagger me.
Yes, it is pretty staggering.
Well, how'd you know?
I got this morning.
Yes, sir. Why don't you look after your wife and Emery Greatbatch? This is a hint from yours truly, a friend. A classic anonymous letter.
I suppose I should have shown it to Phyllis or burnt it, but I couldn't do either.
I know. We're all against anonymous letters in theory and say they should be ignored.
But in actual practice...
Exactly. How'd you know it's from?
No. Posted locally, that's all.
Oh, there must be more evidence than this. You wouldn't hang a dog with that.
Yes, of course there is. Last August, when we were still living in Glasgow. I saw them walk out of St. Enoch's station together.
Well, they didn't see you.
No, it was quite by accident.
Oh, what was Greatbatch doing there? He lives in Oldcastle,
That's
doesn't
it,
he?
exactly. What was he doing there?
An assignation with Phyllis, you think?
Frankly, yes, that is what I think.
And you said nothing to her when you got home?
I expected her to tell me.
I thought the two of you got on so well together.
My wife has had nothing to do with me for 4 years. She hates me.
Not love.
You know nothing about women.
No, of course not. But this meeting with Greatbatch, it could be a coincidence, an accident.
Then why did you say nothing about it?
Any other proof?
Yes? It wasn't Mr. Fearns that kept me late at the office. It was Lottie.
What, your Lottie, your servant?
Yes, she'd come all the way from Oldcastle to see me.
And what did she have to say?
This. Her aunt owns a house just outside Oldcastle and lets rooms.
And Greatbatch lives there.
That's it. Now, last week, Lottie visited her aunt and saw Phyllis and that swine leaving the house together.
You should never have come back here.
Fearns begged me to, as you know, offered me more money.
What was on the table, sir?
I don't care a damn what's on the table. Get up. Don't come worrying me now.
Steady on. Sit down.
Why?
Because I want you to. Ask you to. Now, how does Phyllis explain her visits to Oldcastle?
So she's a wonderful dressmaker there. Better than anything in Bursley.
And is there a dressmaker?
Oh, yes, you may be sure of that. I checked. And that she visits the place each time she...
But she never spent the night there.
Yes, by God, she did. The Easter Sunday, I stayed with you in London. There was no doubt about it. Lottie told me.
Now, what are you going to do?
You must tell her that I know everything. She's no idea, of course.
Oh, hasn't she? Didn't you see her blush when I asked about Lottie?
Anyway, she must be formally told.
All right. Now?
Yes.
And you'll put them in the divorce court straight away?
Well, I suppose so.
Oh, will you or won't you?
I suppose there's nothing for it.
Then why are you hesitating?
My dear chap, I'm not. I'll tell Fearns about it first thing in the morning and ask him to represent me.
All serene, then.
But we must get it over with.
I always find it sad. Two people who care for each other.
You will tell her now.
Yes, of course.
Mayn't I come in, then?
Oh, I beg your pardon.
I've heard a great deal of what you've been saying, and there's no need to trouble any further. I'm going. Oh, yes, you may turn. Supposing I were to ask you about Annunciata first. And it may interest you to know that you've made Minnie cry by your rough words.
Phyllis, where are you going?
Is that any business of yours?
You can see how impossible she's become.
Annunciata, have you been...
Of course not.
You admire her?
One has to be attentive to a certain degree. One's employer's daughter, in the same way as to his wife.
The same way?
All right. I admire her. But as anyone would admire a pure, fresh young girl. I doubt if I've exchanged more than a dozen words with her on a dozen different occasions.
You've gone quite pink about the neck.
Absolute rot. Come on. We might as well eat.
Well, where would Phyllis have gone?
That's more than I know.
Lawrence! Now, you will drop me a line and let me know how things are progressing.
Yes, of course.
And when the case comes up, I'll come to court and hold your hand.
Mark?
Miss Mrs. Fearns!
Pleasant surprise. You come so seldom to the Five Towns. You remember Annunciata?
Oh, yes, of course.
Morning, Mark.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lawrence.
Good morning, Mrs. Fearns.
How are you, Lawrence? I hope my husband is treating you well.
I couldn't ask for a better employer.
And you're seeing Mark off?
Yes, back to London. And you?
Mother's going to Birmingham. If my sister's ill.
There's nothing serious, I hope.
That's what we have to find out.
Well, we can travel together, Mrs. Fearns.
How very kind. Well, dear, goodbye then. You see that Mademoiselle keeps an eye on those boys.
I'm sure Lawrence will accompany Annunciata.
What? Oh, yes, of course.
Goodbye. Goodbye, dear. You don't have to come all the way. I know Father's rather strict about Oxford.
Not because I have to earn a living.
It's a coincidence, though. You studying in London, yet both of us coming from the Five Towns.
Your brother's very clever, isn't he? I understand you're to be a solicitor before very long.
Yes, like you in education. I have certain theories about the administration of the law.
Will you practice in the Five Towns?
Oh, yes, it's my home. And you?
Oh, yes. I'm sure.
Then, perhaps we'll meet again.
You must come and call. I'm sure my mother will be delighted to see you. I think there's something I ought to tell you, Mr. Ridware.
Of course. Please do.
I was once engaged to Emery Greatbatch.
But you broke it off.
Yes. And that was one of my reasons for going to London.
She's a beauty. And a remarkable woman. And she's certainly not tamed.
I've never met a girl like her before.
You don't find her too self-possessed?
Not at all. Not in the least. And she listens, Mark. She listens.
And I'm sure she has all the virtues.
I expect you're right. I suppose some great poet or musician would carry it off.
Oh, she might not want to wait for that.
Lord, what is the matter with you?
I haven't been sleeping well.
Oh, my dear.
And, I've lost my appetite.
Have you seen the doctor?
No. I know what's wrong with me.
What?
I'm in love with you.
Is that any reason to fall ill?
Then there's something about me you should know. A secret.
Tell me.
Well, it's to do with my parents. They weren't, altogether married when I was born. That's to say, they were married very soon after, but not at the, actual moment.
Is that any fault of yours?
No, I suppose not.
You want to marry me?
Yes. Oh, yes. Phyllis, it would be such astounding happiness.
I should have thought you'd have been pleased I told Mother she couldn't come and live with us.
It was the tone of voice you said it in.
Oh, my tone of voice is me and yours is you. Anyway, you're only like this because you didn't sleep last night.
Was that my fault?
Don't try to apportion blame. Anyway, it doesn't matter now.
It does matter. I need my sleep. I have to get to the office at a certain time in the morning. You've nothing special to do all day.
Nothing special. I look after this house. I see that everything is spick and span. I can cook endlessly about meals and don't think I care what I eat. I could live on a piece of cheese and apple.
You're changing the subject.
And you? When you do come home, all you can do is work. You find excuses to take legal documents over to the Fearns. And you only do that so that you can ogle Annunciata.
Phyllis, that really is it. I only hope the time will never come when I shall regret having married you.
What?
But I regret us.
Great stupid.
It's not that we don't get on. It's that she's so unreasonable and argumentative.
You mean she doesn't abide by my rules of debate?
Exactly.
And 15 minutes after her hour, she appears to have forgotten all about it.
That's right.
It's nice to have peace again, but you feel cheated. You feel that justice has not triumphed.
Oh, has it, mind you?
You know the truth, don't you?
How do you mean?
You married a woman.
Well, Mark, you're not being very helpful.
Tell me, do you consider Phyllis to be an inferior creature? Do you, I mean?
She can be very delightful.
No, that's not what I asked.
Oh, I've discovered that there's no sense in appealing to her reason or sense of justice, or even to her good nature. All she wants is to be humoured, and that's tantamount to her getting her own way.
You do treat her as an inferior.
Which is often delightful, quite often. Fairly often. That was an idiotic phrase.
It was a perfectly good phrase. A lack of enterprise.
My dear Phyllis, that's the last thing anyone can accuse me of.
Well, you could easily buy a partnership. You've got enough money for that. Well, it's worth considering.
I am considering it.
That's what you said on our honeymoon 5 years ago.
It must be prudent.
But not to say that the nation's approved.
There are other things in life besides burning ambition.
For some extraordinary reason, you think you've got to go too far for ambition.
I do have certain inner resources that certain other people lack.
But why other people? Do you mean me by any chance?
Not necessarily. Yes. Since you mention it, yes, ambition seems to be your one subject of conversation.
Oh, I'll grant you you're well educated, inasmuch as you've read all the right books. But who wants inner resources that turn one into an intolerable prig?
Phyllis, before we were married, you told me you had theories on education.
We were discussing
Please let me finish. After 5 years, I've discovered you have no exact knowledge about anything. You have no sense of perspective. Your taste is capricious in the extreme,
Capricious?
to say the least, and unreliable. True, you can talk cleverly on occasion. But to have the audacity to talk about theories of education or theories of anything else...
sorry, but the parts of my character are so glaring. It's a pity you didn't see them before you told me I had a strange charm that had seduced you.
Oh, my, we have spoken our minds, haven't we? Well, we shall both have to make the best of life.
Morning, Mr. Ridware.
Morning, Pennington.
Will you let me have your attendances in Wilcox versus Wilcox today, please?
That's right.
Well, you promised to me the day before
Well, I
yesterday.
can't do everything.
As you please, I only mentioned the matter, Mr. Ridware.
Come in.
Morning, Mr. Fearns.
Good morning, Lawrence.
I had the pleasure of seeing Mrs. Fearns at the station this morning.
She got off safely?
Yes. My brother said he would take good care of her.
Mark, what was he doing here?
Well, I'd asked him to come about a matter which... about which I also wish to speak to you.
Well, out with it.
It's about a divorce case.
What divorce case?
Mine.
You've left the door open. Better close it. You mean to say you've been making a fool of yourself, Lawrence?
I propose to bring an action against my wife, naming Emery Greatbatch as the correspondent.
Greatbatch?
Bachelor of Arts.
Lawrence, you shocked me.
Yes, I do say, but I'm a great deal more shocked than you are.
But, Phyllis, has she confessed?
Confessed? I should think not.
Then what proofs have you?
I shall make a deposition in good time. What is more, my wife has already left me last night.
You're determined to bring an action?
Absolutely.
Phyllis is not likely to let it go undefended, is there?
I've no idea.
Greatbatch certainly won't be. It'll ruin his career, him a schoolmaster.
Damn good thing, too.
You'll have to give security for your wife's costs, you know.
Yes, and that's a scandalous thing.
No, not scandalous at all. It's perfectly just.
My wife has a small private income.
Well, that has nothing to do with it. The law is made to meet the average case.
I shall give security. There'll be no difficulty about that.
I take it you want me to act?
Yes.
Very well. You give it to Pennington.
I was hoping that you'd keep an eye on it yourself.
I shall naturally do that.
Come along, boys. Time for your homework. Frank, expect you heard me.
Mamselle isn't back yet. Does Mum tell us what to do?
I'll tell you what to do.
That's not fair. Mother never tells us.
But if Mother isn't here nor Mamselle, your sister will have to do.
We're playing.
I'm coming to catch you.
Mamselle, where's Mamselle?
Oh, I wondered where you were, Mamselle.
Thursday, my dear. My afternoon off.
Yes, but with Mother having to go to Birmingham.
You don't need to ask me to say. But nobody asked me.
It's time the boys did their homework.
Oh, un moment ou two, yes? Frank, Septimus, venez avec moi. Ce soir, la leçon française.
Martha, since Mother is away tonight, I shall sit at the head of the table. Yes, Miss Anne. Not Mamselle, but me. Yes, Miss, I understand.
Il est déjà tard. Nous allons nous coucher tout de suite. Demain, nous devons de bonheur parce que nous avons de projets. C'est formidable. Bravo, bravo.
What did the telegram say?
Auntie isn't seriously ill and Mamma will be back in a few days.
Well, that's all right then, isn't it?
Yes, Father.
What's that noise?
I'm afraid it's Master Frank and Master Sepp, sir. Chocolate! You promised. Thanks. You said we could have a chocolate. Boys.
Mademoiselle, is this the way you bring up my boys?
Chocolate. There they are.
This is what comes of your mother being away.
Mr. Fearns.
Well, I did promise them, you know.
Father.
Now, hook it, or by the beard of the prophet, I'll...
No, I'll go. I'll look after them.
But my dear friend,
I'll go.
Miss, you are up with the lark.
Now listen carefully, Martha. Immediately we have left the house, you will go upstairs and slip this note quietly under Mamselle's door.
Under the door, yes, miss.
Then you will go to the post office and send this telegram to my mother.
Very good, miss.
Come along, boys.
Gentlemen, Mayor and Corporation of Hanbridge versus Clark. I'm in receipt of yours of yesterday and observe. Yours truly. Here?
You want her on the telephone, sir?
Oh, who wants me?
Didn't give a name, sir. A lady.
Oh, very well.
Yes.
Yes? Yes?
Look, I asked you for the fare copy.
What? Yes, I see. All right, now. At the usual place. I'll be back in 20 minutes. Please leave the house as quickly as possible. I am looking after the children. My God.
She knows.
How can she?
She must have had suspicions and watched last night.
What have you done?
Tout simplement, I packed my trunks and left.
That puts us in the wrong at once.
I've not the intention of having a scene with your daughter.
Why didn't you tell me this morning before I left the house?
Well, I tried. I was coming to your room, but Martha was cleaning in the landing where she had gone. You had gone too. What are we going to do?
What can we do?
Why? Why did I come to your room last night? We were both mad. So, I must leave you. When I am gone, your wife will forgive you. She will help you to make Annunciata understand that there was nothing.
You think so?
I will go now.
Where will you go?
Back to Paris. There are many English families in Paris. I could place myself.
I'll write you the best character you can possibly want.
Thank you. You have my address?
Yes.
And you'll ask your wife to forgive you?
I'll try. I'll meet her at the station before Annunciata sees her.
I pity you, my friend.
All I can say is I'm truly sorry I've got you into this hole.
It is myself I blame. For me, there is no excuse.
Well, there we are.
What shall you say to Annunciata tonight?
I have no intention of seeing her. I shall have business at Liverpool the next few days, and then be back in time to meet my wife.
What time shall you go?
To Liverpool? Well, there's a 12:40. And there's a train to London at 11:05. Should you wish to catch it?
Yes.
Have you enough money?
Oh, oui.
Let me give you some.
Oh, no. No.
I'm sorry.
Adieu.
Goodbye, little girl.
Hello?
Hello, who's that?
It's me.
Annunciata?
Yes, Father.
I've got to go to Liverpool. Business. I won't be back for a couple of nights. Annunciata?
Yes, Father.
It is important. Only a day or two. Goodbye. My wife is back.
Yes, I still have your wife.
That means Annunciata must have sent for her. You missed the train?
No, I didn't miss it. I could not leave you, Jerry. I could not.
Now, look here.
For you.
If you think that you...
Oh, don't. Don't let me go.
Don't go on like this here. I'll give a minute.
I cannot.
Now, look here, my girl. You can't pull these games over me. You've got to go. If it's blackmail, do your worst.
Oh, no. You cannot think that of me. What a terrible thing to say.
Have you got your ticket to London?
No,
Well, why not?
I had no money.
In why in God's name did you tell me you had?
But that's too bad.
Oh, let's be damned. There's the Liverpool train. Here. Here you are. There's another train to London in 3 hours. I'll send you your references.
Well, I must say, sir, that the lady, the one that you showed me the picture of, made what you might call a favourable impression upon me. Otherwise,
Even so, Mrs. Malkin, you will be subpoenaed, and if you turn out to be an unwilling witness in a divorce trial, I'm afraid it'll give your lodging house a bad reputation.
my house, sir. Why?
Because everyone will say that you connived at immorality.
Well, then, what do you want me to do?
Simply tell me the sequence of events from the first time that the lady in question called on Mr. Greatbatch at his room in Oldcastle. Huh?
Well, it was the Thursday before Good Friday. Mr. Greatbatch said there was a lady coming to tea on Good Friday, and would I get something nice?
Did she come?
Oh, yes, she did. I showed her up. I left the door open because I had the tea tray outside.
What was their demeanour upon your return?
Well, they might have been. I'm not saying they were, mind you, but they might have been sneaking a kiss.
What time did the lady leave?
about 9 o'clock that night.
She go into the room again that evening?
Yes, I did. After I'd heard the lady go, I went to clear away the tea things and see to the room.
Did you notice any sign of disorder in the room?
Well, not exactly disorder, sir. No, I did notice that when I came to turn down the bed for the night, the top sheet wasn't under the bolster like I'd done it in the morning.
And the lady came again on Easter Sunday?
Yes. And when I went to bed, which was soon after 10, she was still there because I heard talking, low. And at 4 o'clock, I was woken up by the front door banging.
Oh. Thank you very much, Mrs. Martin. You've been most helpful.
And my house won't get a bad name.
Oh, indeed not, madam. You've been very frank and very comforting.
Annunciata, dear, I have to ask you this. You are absolutely sure?
Yes.
So I come out of this room. They were together last night. God forgive him.
You don't seem very surprised.
My dear child. One day I'll tell you.
But you must have someone to talk to, someone to consult.
My dear girl, of course I must, but who can I talk to about a thing like this?
There's Mr. Ridware from Father's office.
No, dear, no. I couldn't bother Mr. Ridware about a matter of this kind.
But you must have someone. Miss Annunciata, sir.
Good evening. I was just...
I'm sorry to trouble you.
Well, I wasn't expecting anyone.
Mother will be very pleased.
Won't you sit down?
No, thank you. I mustn't stay. But Mother will be most obliged if you could come and see her.
Tonight?
Tonight.
Your mother wants to see me. Tonight.
Oh, I see. Well, yes, if it isn't troubling you too much.
No. Just a moment. 5 minutes and I'll be with you.
Well, go on if you don't mind and tell her you're coming.
Oh, come in, Lawrence. It's very good of you to come over like this.
There's nothing wrong, I hope.
I'll leave you to talk together.
Yes, dear, do. Thank you very much. Do sit down, Lawrence.
Oh, thank you.
Lawrence, I'm going to do something rather unusual.
Unusual?
Yes, I'm going to talk to you about an extremely delicate matter.
Oh, you know then.
No?
Mr. Fearns has spoken to you.
Mr. Fearns?
Oh, perhaps Phyllis has been to see you.
Phyllis?
My wife.
Yes, Lawrence, dear, I know Phyllis is your wife.
You spoke of a delicate matter.
Tomorrow, I shall be leaving this house.
Leaving?
With Annunciata and the 2 boys.
You're leaving, Mrs. Fearns?
Are you so very surprised, Lawrence?
Well, I am and I'm not.
I see you mean that since I put up with his peccadillos this long, I might as well stay the course a little longer.
Oh, yes, I suppose you could put it like that. Is he coming back tonight?
Well, if he were, I wouldn't be here now.
I'm sincerely very sorry.
Oh, I know a lot of people think I've been blind. Poor thing, they say. But I liked him. I felt comfortable with him. When I went into a room and he was there, I had a feeling of pleasure. I knew his faults. I knew he used to go after other women. First it nearly killed me, then I grew accustomed to it. A comfortable feeling, still. Is love, I suppose. And he always came back to me in the end.
And now?
Now, Lawrence, he has ceased to be a gentleman. He's become so clumsy, or so careless, or so callous, call it what you will, that he makes love to a governess in this very house.
Mrs. Fearns.
And who has the task of telling me about it? Who has to send for me post-haste?
Oh, no, Mrs. Fearns, I can't believe...
Oh, yes, my daughter, Annunciata. Lawrence, she saw that woman leaving my husband's room in the early hours of this morning. Am I not right to leave?
Yes, of course you are. Do you intend to bring an action against Mr. Fearns?
A judicial separation, yes.
Or a divorce?
A divorce? Is that possible?
Well, you can only divorce your husband if you're able to prove desertion or cruelty. But there is legal cruelty. And I think that adultery in the household does constitute legal cruelty. But in either case, Annunciata would have to give evidence.
Will you tell me the name of a good solicitor that I can go to?
Well, after us, in this district, I should say Bradwell's.
I shall be leaving this district.
Where are you thinking of going?
Well, I'd thought of somewhere like Folkestone or Sandgate or somewhere like that, but Annunciata suggests Llandudno.
Wherever you decide to go, I shall find you the name of a reliable solicitor.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you. And Lawrence, will you tell him?
What?
Yes, that we have left.
I'm sure he'll be back tomorrow to see you face to face.
That's precisely what I want to avoid, if only for the sake of Annunciata. He'll find everything in order, then he can do as he pleases.
The governess, she's gone, of course.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. She went like a lamb, it appears. Tell him there was nothing else to be done, Lawrence. So I'm doing it. I shall never see him again.
Oh, Annunciata, dear, would you see Mr. Ridware to the front door, please?
Annunciata, I mean, hardly say it. It's horrible for you, of all people, to be subjected to...
I think I did right.
Yes, yes, of course.
Thank goodness it's all over with.
Over?
As far as I'm concerned, I'll try never to think of it again.
I only hope that's possible. But if your mother... Well, we'll see, we'll see.
You mustn't worry.
No, no. The truth is, I'm in something of the same predicament.
The same? In what way?
I'm going into the divorce court myself.
You?
My wife has let me know alternative. I'm fixed. Like your mother is. So I understand. Good night.
Emery? My poor boy. You've been ill?
Yes, I've been ill. How did you find out?
Mrs. Morgan's just told me. Why didn't you let me know?
I didn't want to worry you.
Oh, but Emery, I love you.
You shouldn't have come here, though.
It happened. The petition.
The High Court of Justice. Florence Ridware, Emery, Greatbatch. Adultery. Oh, my God, I've got you into a nice mess, haven't I?
What do I care? It's you I think of, your job. Tell me about your illness.
One morning, about 3 weeks ago, I woke up and I couldn't see out of my right eye.
You sent for the doctor?
Yes, he said I'd had a hemorrhage in my retina when I was asleep.
How is that possible? My poor darling, but it's better now.
You don't notice anything, do you?
No. You're so pale.
Well, it's all over now.
You should have written to me at Mother's. I could have come to look after you. It's so long since I heard from you that... Well, I thought perhaps...
What, my dearest?
Well, I thought perhaps you wanted to end our relationship.
Oh, what nonsense. How could you think such a thing?
Oh, Emery. I'm still not satisfied. I shall want to see the doctor myself.
No, you'll do no such thing. Anyway, what we need is a lawyer.
Yes, we must decide what to do.
There's not much we can do. We'll fight, of course. But it's all up now.
Well, if it's all up, why fight? But why don't we go away at once? Canada, anywhere, I don't mind.
Because...
What is it, Emery? What's the matter? Emery, you're crying. Oh, don't.
Ridware, I really am. Is this Mr. Greatbatch?
Yes.
I can serve you with these. Thank you. I'm sorry to trouble you.
There's nothing but glossy foolscap forms filled in by shabby clerks.
But our names. The names of the towns, the streets of
Oh, don't look at them, don't, my dearest.
As soon as you're better, we'll collect what money we can and go abroad. Once it gets out, you won't be able to go back to that school.
Are you sure it wouldn't be better not to do anything?
Why?
Well, because... Oh, Phyllis.
Emery, what haven't you told me?
It's nearly finished,
Finished?
as far as I'm concerned.
No. No, I don't understand. What are you trying to tell me?
I've had the first seizure.
No, my darling, no.
The second will finish me. Next month, 6 months. Tomorrow.
No. I don't believe it. I won't.
You mustn't pretend that it won't be so. It's just how things happen. I'm dying.
No! When we find such happiness, oh, God is so unfair.
Yes, my dearest child, don't cry.
I will look after you. Always. Always.
Yes. Always.
Oh, Mr. Ridware.
Yes?
It would be as well if you could glance through these.
What are they?
Just drawing up the brief.
Brief?
Your case, Ridware versus Ridware.
Oh. Well, isn't it going along awfully quickly?
Oh, no. Average time. The case is in order for trial. It'll be set down at once.
Yes, good. So much the better.
I don't know why they waste their money fighting. Now then, what's about this?
To Ridware, sir.
Yes, what is it?
There's a bit in the paper, sir. Mr. Pennington thought you'd want to, see it.
Yes, well, what does it say?
We regret to hear of the sudden decease of Mr. Emery Greatbatch, science master at the Old Castle Middle School.
Let me see. Succumbed to a hemorrhage at the base of the brain. My God.
I know you're occupied with your own troubles, but I must speak to you for a moment about mine.
Yes, I've read the copy petition for divorce of Fearns, Mrs. Fearns.
So, now you know the sorry story. A train of events the night Mrs. Fearns was in Birmingham. My greatest shame is that Annunciata should be dragged into this.
I can imagine.
Lawrence, this action must stop. It can't go on.
It's bound to go on.
I've meant to talk to you about it before. You're a decent fellow. I respect you. But I could believe that my wife would persist in the action.
What choice does she have?
Oh, I know. But there is something she can do. She can stop it and come back to me.
That's not argument.
Oh, to hell with argument. Think of the trial, man, the scandal.
You should have thought of that before, Mr.
Yes, I know. Oh, I've written letters. Even to Annunciata. No reply.
The hell she must have gone through.
Oh, don't keep on rubbing it in.
Why don't you go and see your wife?
Because I daren't. I haven't got the pluck. Now, look here, Lawrence. My wife likes you. So, you go up and see her. Explain things.
It's out of the question.
Now, just a minute. I want a partner in this business. So if you go and see Alma for me, I'll give you a partnership.
Do you want my opinion? Without the partnership.
Of course.
I think your wife is quite right and you are quite wrong.
I'm thinking of my daughter.
I know you are. Do you think your wife hasn't also thought of her? Do you suppose you're the only person that thinks of your daughter? Bad as the trial will be, and the scandal, it will be better for all parties concerned.
So you won't go?
I will not.
Well, then you'd better get back to your desk, hadn't you?
Makes no difference. Simply have to apply to have his name struck out, that's all.
These two divorces will rock the Five Towns. Now, I haven't come all the way to London to have you treat serious matters with your cynical disdain.
Well, you know my advice?
To go and see Phyllis. I doubt it would do very much good.
Well, it depends on how you feel about her.
I know. Ever since Greatbatch's death, I felt exactly what, I don't know.
Pity?
Yes. Irrational, I know, but very much present. It's only my instinct tells me I should go and see her, make some sort of peace offer.
Well, instinct isn't always such a bad guide.
I've not found that to be true in the past.
Well, all things considered, Would you refuse a sincere offer of reconciliation?
You don't know Phyllis.
Well, it's worth a try. And if the divorce does go through, you must come and bunk down here with me.
Thank you, I will.
There's a gentleman to see you, miss.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Morgan, yes.
I was very sorry.
What do you want, Fearns?
I read about the death, and Mark thought...
How is Mark?
Oh, very well, very well. He thought... At least we discussed it, and we agreed that...
Do you think I want your sympathy?
I was hoping...
You've slandered me. And you've slandered Emery. And now he's dead, you think you can get me back, don't you?
What if it was you that really killed him?
I? Why didn't you ask me plainly if I were guilty that day before you sent for Mark?
There was enough evidence
Yes.
for me to...
So go on with your precious divorce case, and you will see. But I certainly don't want your sympathy.
And there's nothing more to be said.
I should think not, indeed.
Alma?
What were you saying to Annunciata?
Well, surely I can speak to my own daughter.
Yes, I suppose you can.
I asked her to take the boys off. I've come down to talk to you. Martha told me at the house where you were.
What do you want to talk to me about?
This divorce action must stop. You're bound to regret it afterwards.
I don't think so.
But surely anything's better than the scandal.
No. No, I don't think anything is better than the scandal. I really have settled that in my mind.
But you've not given me an opportunity.
An opportunity of what?
You haven't heard my side of the affair.
What is it?
You know I'm awfully...
Now, you're not going to tell me the whole thing is a misconception.
All right. Let's assume I've made a fool of myself. Let's assume that. Think the worst of me you can, but by God, Alma, there's many a worse husband than I.
I don't doubt it, Charles.
You know I'm quite so fond of you, don't you?
Yes. Yes, I believe you are.
And then there are the children. I'm just as attached to them as you, every bit. I never get as much pleasure as I get in my own house.
Evidently.
That was cruel.
I speak as I find.
But, Alma, you must think of the children. It'll cling to them all their lives.
What will cling to them?
The scandal of divorce, if you let it go on.
Not it. People like you give too much importance to scandal. It'll soon be forgotten. One doesn't discuss a divorce case forever. Not even in Berkeley. No, it'll all be forgotten long before the children really understand it.
Not by Annunciata.
No, I wasn't thinking of her. Annunciata's not a child. She was. She isn't now.
Have you realized what the trial would be like to her?
be painful, of course. But nothing like as painful as what she's already been through.
Alma, you'll never let her give evidence. You'll never bring yourself to do it.
And if I don't, what then? Are we all supposed to come back to you as if nothing had happened?
Oh, no, I don't mean that. Only drop the divorce. Live where you like for a year or two. I'll leave you absolutely alone.
No.
Perhaps Annunciata will marry or go out into the world or something.
Quite possibly.
Then you could come back. Oh, Alma, I'm cured. I'm sure I'm cured.
My dear man, I can't trust you. You're incurable.
My God, Alma, you've changed.
A man who's done what you've done must be incurable. I'm sorry for you. I wish there was something I could do for you. But I must have my freedom.
The court will never give you a divorce.
It'll be infamous if it doesn't. In any case, I shall take a judicial separation. And I shall take the children.
Alma.
And here they are coming back. Please go.
Alma.
Goodbye.
Your husband wrote to you upon several occasions, did he not?
That is correct.
What was the tenor of the letters in question?
He asked either to see me or that I should go back to him.
Did he at any time deny your charges against him?
Never.
What was your response to these letters?
I ignored them.
And from whom did you first hear of your husband's alleged adultery?
My daughter, Annunciata.
Thank you, Mrs. Fearns.
No questions, my lord.
You may stand down. I call Annunciata Fearns.
Annunciata Fearns.
Annunciata Fearns.
Take the book in the right hand and repeat after me. I swear by the Almighty God.
I swear by Almighty God.
The evidence I shall give in this court,
The evidence I shall give in this court,
touched by the matters in question,
by the matters in question,
shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Kiss the book. Lift the veil, miss.
Lift?
You can't kiss the book through the veil. Lift it.
Your name is Annunciata. Your name is Annunciata Fearns. Will you tell the court in your own words what you saw take place on the night in question between the governess residing in your house and the respondent? Miss Fearns. You must answer, Miss Fearns.
You must answer the question.
Here, in front of all these people.
Yes?
Yes, of course. I'll let you know immediately. The court is adjourned for lunch. Counsel wants to know when you'll be returning.
Oh, yes, of course. I wonder, would you mind leaving my husband and Annunciata alone for a few minutes?
Certainly.
It's very kind of you both to have looked after us like this, most kind.
Well, it was nothing.
Nothing. Nothing at all.
You would have upset a man, let alone a young girl. Come on, Lawrence.
Annunciata, dear.
Mother, we must go back. I shall be all right.
No, Annunciata.
But I shall have ruined you.
Listen, dearest child, I've been wrong, that's all. Quite wrong.
Oh,
I should never have put you to such a test.
What shall we do?
Oh, we'll go home. That's all. I shall withdraw from the case, and we'll just go home.
I shall go to London at the end of next week. My divorce case comes up the week after.
Well, I hope all goes well, the way you want it.
There's no turning back now. I can't expect your good fortune.
Oh, is that what you call it? Oh, granted, the big scandal was avoided, but we're still separated.
Well, I won't be able to avoid the big scandal.
Only because you're insisting on it. No other reason.
What choice do I have?
Good morning.
Mrs. Fearns.
Good morning, Lawrence.
I hope I find you well.
Thank you, yes.
And Annunciata?
Thank you.
Come in. I'm glad to see you, Alma.
I shall not keep you long, Charles. It's about Annunciata.
Oh, she's not ill.
No. I'm happy to say she's quite recovered from that unhappy episode 3 weeks ago.
That's good news.
She's thinking of taking up nursing.
Yes, it's something to be encouraged. She has all the right qualities.
She'll do her training in London. She'll no longer live with me.
I see that, yes.
And that being the case, I am prepared to forgive you.
Alma.
To forgive you unconditionally. And to come back to you should you so wish it.
Wish it? Oh, my dear, it's my only wish. How could I ever have been so foolish, so unthinking? But I've learned my lesson, Alma. Indeed, I have.
You see, there are the boys to think of. They've missed you very much.
And I them. Oh, my dear, how happy you've made me.
I'm prepared to put as good a face as possible on all this, Charles.
You won't regret it. I promise you from the bottom of my heart.
Your heart's not to be trusted, Charles. I fully realize that. As I said to you on the beach that day, you're incurable.
Oh, no, Alma.
All I insist on is that you are discreet.
I'll never stray again. Never.
I seek no promises, Charles. Except one.
Anything?
Wait to stray till you get to London. I shall be back in Breslin with the 2 boys in 1 week from today.
I shall have the house in order, my dear.
Thank you.
So your suspicions, very naturally, were based on, 1, seeing your wife and Mr. Greatbatch in St. Enoch's station in Glasgow. A fact that she did not see fit to mention to you. 2, after you moved back from Glasgow to Bursley, you received an anonymous letter suggesting you look after your wife and Emery Greatbatch. And 3, a visit from a former maid of yours, whose aunt owns a house in Oldcastle at which Mr. Greatbatch had lodgings.
That is correct.
And then, without warning, your wife left the house.
Yes.
When your brother was present.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Ridware.
Just 1 moment, Mr. Knight. You lived in Glasgow for some time.
Yes, my lord.
Are you a Scotsman?
No, my lord. My mother was Scottish, but my father was English, and I was born in England.
You may proceed, Mr. Knight.
Now, Mr. Ridware, when you saw your wife and the late Mr. Greatbatch at the railway station, why did you not go up and speak to them?
I did not choose to.
Did not choose to. Yet would that not have been the most natural thing to do?
Very possibly.
You had nothing against Greatbatch, had you, save that there'd once been a boy and girl attachment between he and your wife?
An engagement.
Well, call it an engagement.
It was an engagement.
So you considered you had a grievance against him because he had once been engaged to your wife?
Not at all.
Yet you ignored him.
I was taken by surprise.
That same evening, did you tell your wife that you had seen them?
No.
Why not? You had surely had time to recover from your surprise.
My wife said nothing to me.
I am not asking what your wife did or did not do. I am asking why you said nothing to her.
I simply did not choose to.
Did not choose to. Assuming there had been something between Greatbatch and your wife, wouldn't it have been better to speak to her plainly?
Better.
As a prudent husband, jealous of his honor, you might have nipped things in the bud.
Perhaps.
I really do not see what my friend is driving at.
You will see directly. Shortly after the episode at the railway station, you gave up your house in Glasgow and moved back to the Five Towns.
Yes.
Where Greatbatch lived.
Yes.
At that time, keeping in mind the aforementioned episode, were you convinced of your wife's innocence?
I was not.
Yet you brought her back to live in the very district where Greatbatch lived. Hardly the action of a prudent husband.
I was offered a better situation in Bursley by a former employer of mine.
How much better?
£1 a week more.
So, for the sake of £1 a week more, you were willing to risk the peril of relations between Greatbatch and your wife.
It never entered my head. I may add that I do not mean to stay in the Five Towns. I only came back to oblige an old employer for a period. My furniture's still stored in Glasgow.
Stored in Glasgow? Not long after your marriage, you began to quarrel with your wife.
We have had several quarrels.
About what?
Trifles. I can't remember.
Trifles? And then you ceased to love her.
Yes.
Did she ever refuse you intercourse?
No, it was by mutual consent.
You spoke to her about it?
No, nothing was said.
Nothing was said. You will agree, I suppose, that when intercourse ceases and nothing is said, the responsibility rests with the husband, not with the wife.
Certainly.
During these quarrels with your wife, did you ever say you would give anything to be rid of her?
I may have said it in anger.
Then you did want to be rid of her?
I often wish that I'd never married her, but that is not the same thing.
Would you say that you had done everything to keep her out of the hands of Greatbatch?
I would only say that I acted for the best.
Acted for the best. Thank you.
Did your wife ever mention to you that she had met Greatbatch at this lodging house in Old Castle?
Never.
And is there any foundation for the suggestion that you wished her to fall into the hands of Greatbatch?
None whatsoever. The suggestion is infamous. Infamous!
Thank you, Mr. Ridware. The lady.
Yes, sir. Good Friday it was.
Do you see that lady in court today?
Yes, she's there.
How long did she stay?
About 5 hours, till 9 o'clock in the evening.
And did you go into the room after Mrs. Ridware had left the house?
Yes, I went to clear away the tea things.
Did you notice anything peculiar?
Well, I did notice that when I came to tear down the bed for the night, the top sheet wasn't under the bolster like I always put it.
And what conclusion did you come to?
Well, looked like the bed must have been disturbed and then remade.
Thank you, Mrs. Morgan.
Glasgow Railway Station. I had not seen Mr. Greatbatch since long before my marriage.
What passed between the two of you on that occasion?
Nothing, except friendly talk. He told me that he was afflicted with an incurable disease, and that he had no one to look after him.
That aroused your sympathy?
Yes.
Why did you not tell your husband of this meeting?
Because he is a man of violent disposition, and he is insanely jealous.
When was the next time you met Mr. Greatbatch?
Just before Easter this year, I went to Oldcastle to visit my dressmaker, and I ran across him. He told me that he could not live for more than 3 months. He asked me to have tea with him the following day. I said I would. I was wrong, I know, but I went.
And the next time?
My husband was away in London. I visited Oldcastle to nurse Mr. Greatbatch. At least, I tried to cheer him up.
Did you commit adultery with Mr. Greatbatch?
I did not. He was ill and lonely, and I tried to be a friend to him. But that's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Ridware.
Now, Mrs. Ridware, do you mean to state seriously that you've never given your husband cause for suspicion? Is it not curious that these visits to the late Emery Greatbatch, which you wish us to believe were perfectly innocent, took place at exactly the same time as when your husband was away in London?
I asked her to come with me, and she refused.
I understand your husband asked you to accompany him and you refused.
I did not feel well enough at the time, and I begged him not to leave me alone.
What a lie, my God. I suggest to you, Mrs. Ridware, that you did not learn of Mr. Greatbatch's illness until after the visits to him in question. And I must warn you, I'm prepared to bring medical evidence to support my statement.
I am under oath.
Precisely what I am reminding you of in my halting fashion.
You spoke of cause for suspicion, but in the relations between the sexes, my husband was always suspicious. You see, he himself was illegitimate.
Mr. Ridware?
Anyone can be so vindictive and cruel.
Before going any further, I'll put a few questions to the petitioner. You may stand down, Mrs. Ridware.
Petitioner?
Is it true that you were not born in wedlock?
Yes. But my parents were married immediately afterwards. Why my wife should break a confidence? Can't understand.
Yes, I quite understand your feelings. Your mother was Scottish and your father English?
Yes, my lord.
Thank you. My lord, Mr. Knight, I fear I shall not have to trouble you further. It appears to me that a question of jurisdiction has arisen. The Lord Chancellor has made it clear that this court should not grant divorce except where English domicile is clearly established. The Scottish courts are very jealous for their jurisdiction, and rightly so. Now, the domicile of the legitimate child is that of its father, but of an illegitimate child, it is of its mother. The petitioner's origin is therefore Scottish, and since he has told us that he has not yet removed his furniture from Scotland, it is apparent that his domicile is still in Scotland, and that this court therefore has no jurisdiction. The petition must be dismissed. Costs will follow the event.
The doctor says you're out of the woods.
Oh, yes. Depression is the normal aftermath of pneumonia, I believe. After tonight, I won't need pneumonia, see.
You decided to stay here? We'll go back to Glasgow.
Well, Fearns seems reluctant to let me go, so I suppose I shall stay here.
You seen Phyllis? Is this the Scottish court?
Good heavens, no. And last I heard, she went to London over a year ago.
I don't suppose she'll come back here.
I should think not, indeed. Caught out in a tissue of lies.
Here, love. The last dose of medicine I shall be giving you.
I expect he'll miss you.
He's going to get word to me if he has a relapse.
No. I shall be all right now.
Drink it down, then. Good boy. Well, I'll go and get my things and come and say goodbye.
Very well.
Yes, I'll walk with you.
Thank you, that'd be most kind.
Does she ever see her family now?
Only when her father's in London.
I always remember Phyllis saying What about Annunciata Fearns?
Do you?
Don't you?
Yes, I do.
And that day in court,
What about it?
when she fainted, you caught her in your arms. I always felt she had a strange attraction for you.
Yes.
Have you ever thought? Even considered?
Yes, it has crossed my mind since she's been nursing me. But I'm nearly 20 years older than she is.
Now, why not ask? She can but say no.
Perhaps that's what I'm afraid of.
But never to know.
I might. One day. But life is very calm now. And I think I value that too much to...
All ready?
Right. I'll get my coat.
Now keep tucked up, Lawrence, and don't stay up too late.
I won't.
We want you up and about by the middle of next week. Now, have you got everything you want?
Yes, thank you. Annunciata, I should like to thank you for taking such good care of me.
Good heavens, there's nothing to thank me for. It's all part of my job.
Yes, of course.
So, there we are. Goodbye, Lawrence.
Goodbye.
Your bag shorter, Lawrence.
Yes. Oh, Mark. There's no hurry.